How's it going, guys? It's Najam. Welcome back to another video. So in this video I'm going to finally review the RG556, and as you can see it comes in this case. It's a very nice case. There's quite a bit to talk about, so let's get right into it. Now this is a dream handheld. If I was to make a handheld, I'd come up with this pretty much. You have an AMOLED display, you have amazing comfort, sticks, amazing controls, and just really solid performance, and it's running Android, so you can do quite a lot on this as well. So this is an amazing piece of handheld, and I will be going into details and talking about my experience with certain issues as well. So let's get straight into it. I will leave affiliate links in the description, so please go check them out. Let's start off with the specifications. This has a 5.48 inch Super AMOLED display, and this has a resolution of 1920 by 1080. It has a 402 ppi, and it's actually HDR, but I'll talk about that in just a moment when I get onto the display. This has a Unisoc T820 octa-core CPU. It has one core running at 2.7 GHz, 3 cores running at 2.3 GHz, and 4 cores running at 2.1 GHz. It has a quad-core Mali G57 GPU, I believe. It runs at 850 MHz. It has 8 GB of LPDDR4 extra RAM. It has 128 GB of storage. It's running Android 13. It's got Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 5 GHz, 2.4 GHz, AB, GN, AC, and Bluetooth 5, and all that. That's all cool. It has stereo speakers as well as stereo vibration motors, and it has SD card slots up to 2 TB. It has a built-in 5500 mAh battery, and you also have a Type-C port over here which can do video out, I believe, at 1080p. And it also has a 3.5mm headphone jack, which is really cool. Now the price on this is under £200. I got this for 160. You can find this on deals and the stuff for a little bit lower. That's a very good price for this handheld. Now let's go ahead and look around the design. We'll talk about the controls as well, and talk about the design. So as you can see, it looks like if you look around it looks like a controller that just has a smartphone slapped into it, and you have a screen, and that's basically what it is. It is a very nice looking handle. You can get this in black as well as this transparent blue, and with this one you can see everything through it. My lighting isn't going to be very good for this, but of course it's a fingerprint magnet, but you can see all the hardware and all that. That is very cool. So if you look over here, you can see the Hall trigger sensors. Well, at least they say that these are Hall trigger sensors. As you can see, you can see the heatsink. So the 5500 mAh battery is over here, and you have one heatsink pipe going to the CPU, which is right over there, and then you have the CPU which is you have the cooler, the cooler over here, and you can see all the insides, which is very nice. And if you look down here, you can see the speakers. That's very cool, and it does have stereo vibration motors. Now on the top over here you can see that is an LED that is for charging, and you have the power button, and you can see the wires going there. It's a very nice handheld. It looks very pleasing to the eye. Now also while I'm here, I'm going to talk about comfort. This is a very comfortable handheld because it has a very good size, and as you can see, my fingers and hands, they just rest in there like almost perfectly. And I know that every other reviewer has said this is a very comfortable handheld, so I can't really complain. It's the most comfortable handheld I've used. The sticks, the buttons, the size of the buttons, everything is just on point. Very nice. Okay, let's talk about portability. This is going to be the size of a tablet that you can fit in your jacket pocket. So that would be a big pocket that you can fit an 8-inch or a 7-inch tablet in, and this would fit in there without the case. And so that's the size. It's bigger than phones. I wouldn't say it's pocket friendly, but it is definitely a portable device, and especially compared to the Steam Deck, this is much smaller. Okay, let's talk about the controls. We'll start with the sticks. I'll talk about the sticks a little bit later on as well. These are decent sticks. I actually like using them. They're pretty nice. They have some issues which a lot of people have been looking into getting custom firmware or third-party firmware installed, like GammaOS. Unfortunately for this handheld, I was going to install it, but I can't find it. It's not available because the Unisoc T820 system on a chip, or if it's a CPU or whichever, it doesn't have a lot of support because it's not very popular. So I've stuck to the stock operating system that it comes with, and it does have So as you can see, even though this is the stock operating system, it's been months, there hasn't really been an update. So I'm not sure if there is going to be an update on this. Don't expect it, because I really don't think there's going to be any updates on this at all. Ever since I've got it, ever since everybody who's bought this, I don't think there's been many, or if at all, any updates. So we're stuck with what we've got. But the sticks are very, very nice. I do like them. They haven't caused me much issues, and I'll talk about the issues later on. The D-pad is exceptional. It is just amazing, on point. Love the D-pad, very, very nice. You have the clicky buttons. You have the launcher button as well. The ABXY buttons, start and select, you do at the right stick. Soft click shoulder buttons, and then triggers are hold sensitive, and they're pressure sensitive as well. They're pretty nice, and they are a bit firm to press, which is very, very nice. You do like a bit of resistance as well, so you can feel how much pressure you're putting in. Now these buttons over here, in my opinion, they do feel a little bit sticky, but they haven't really caused me any issues just yet. I do feel in some games I am having to press a little bit firmly, but they haven't really caused me any issues. And the sticks, they do click in as well. Okay, now let's talk about this display. This is a 5.5 inch Super AMOLED display. It's the equivalent display that you would find on smartphones. Because it's a Super AMOLED display, it looks amazing. It really is. I can't find any fault with this display. The brightness, you can get very, very dark, and it's very easy to play at night time, and also it gets very, very bright. Some other reviewers have mentioned this, and so it is very dynamic. Also, I need to mention this display hardware wise does support HDR10 plus. But unfortunately this software doesn't really have that integrated, so I don't know. It's not a bad deal at all, because to be honest with you, it looks amazing. I can't find any fault with this display. It really is just breathtaking to look at. It's the same equivalent you'll find on some of the flagship Samsung phones, so it's an amazing display. I can't find any fault with this. I love this display. It's the best display I've seen on the market for handhelds. It's probably why you have the Retroid Pocket 5, and they've chosen this exact display as well. I'm not sure if it's the exact same panel, but is the same display, and there's a good reason. It's an amazing display. So this is just a breathtaking, amazing display. Now speakers, they do have stereo speakers, and they are placed really, really well. And when I play the games, you can look at the gameplay and everything, and you'll hear the sound is just really nice. The stereo imaging on this is almost perfect. It is really, really, really nice. So can't complain about the speakers. Very, very nice. And also the sound sounds very, very nice as well. As far as the build quality goes, it is made out of plastic, but it is a very well built device, very solid. So nothing to complain about over there as well. And now let's talk about the operating system. This is running Android 13, and it's fairly stock. There are some in pre-installed software, mainly just all these emulators, and there are some features that make this different. I'm not sure if Retroid is going to have these features on their handhelds, but they might have something different. You can install your own front end if you want. I don't really use a front end. I just like to go in the emulator, usually RetroArch, and then I can just go in history, and then pick whichever one I want to play. And so that just works for me. I'm a bit boring, but it works. And obviously PPSSPP is standalone. Touchscreen works exceptional. Everything just amazing. Can't complain. Now let's talk about one thing that I find a bit annoying. If you swipe down, you do have some features. So you have a built-in key mapper. I've never used this because I don't use Android games on this. You can install Android games, but you can actually map the controls, and then you can go ahead and play the games if you want, like that way. That's pretty cool. The other thing is it does have the CPU mode. I usually play on high when I'm playing PS2, but it doesn't seem to make much of a difference, although it does make a slight difference. You also have a very annoying feature, which is Xbox and Nintendo Switch mode. Well, Nintendo control mode. Now this switches the the A and the B buttons, and it's very annoying because it kind of automatically switches them sometimes, and then you have to just switch it manually. So you have to switch it off and then back on again. It's a bit annoying. It's been very, very annoying, but it seems to be working, and I kind of don't mind it because this handheld is very, very nice. So but it is a minor annoying feature on this. The other thing is the lights, the LED lights. I've kept these off because this is a Super AMOLED display, but you can go ahead and customize these. You can have you know, breathing, and if you're into that, you can change the brightness. You can have them very, very bright. I have just turned them off because I don't use them. Now the other thing is it does have a built-in screen recorder, and you can go ahead and record microphone as well. Now I don't know if this handheld has a microphone, because I've tried recording and it just doesn't pick up any sound. It does pick up the game or audio from the handheld itself rather than the speakers, but I did plug in a headset and it picks up the audio from there, so you can record gameplay. So that's pretty nice. The other thing is, while it's very nice to be able to record this, it records in 1080p, but I think it records in 30 fps, not 60. So a little bit of you know, stuttery or a video, but you can actually record gameplay, which is very nice. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Android apps are available, so you do have the full Android system, and you can go ahead and jump into the Play Store, and you can go ahead and download the other Android games over here. Like, you can find, you can download PUBG, you can download Call of Duty, and you can download, you know, Genshin Impact. All these games are available, so you will be able to download these. But I have kept just playing retro stuff on it. Now, speaking of retro stuff, I'll talk about emulators, which is very, very important. Now, if you go on some of these emulators, you'll find the version of this emulator is a bit old. And so and this is the same situation with the other emulators. So if I go on the PP emulator, this I manually installed from the Google Play Store. It wouldn't let me install this. I had to uninstall the emulator that I came with and install this on my own, because it wouldn't install otherwise. But when I transferred my save files and the save states onto this, it wouldn't work with them, so it was very annoying. Same thing with PS2. If you export the save states from here, it will just not work with the other emulators, the new ones I mean. So when it comes to emulators, just one thing to keep in mind, I've kept most of them. Well, actually, I've kept all of them. The only one I uninstalled is the PP emulator, and I've been using the version one I installed from the Google Play Store. But you don't want to delete any of these emulators, because some of these are paid applications, like Drastic, that's a paid application. I downloaded Yuzu to test out Nintendo Switch on this. It came with both of these Dolphin emulators, and all these other ones it came with on its own. You even got DuckStation and Redream. I've left all them in there, and also Moonlight. So you do have all these emulators. Don't delete them. You can just use RetroArch for most of these. I don't know why they all, you know, put them in here. And RetroArch comes with preloaded all of these cores. I mean, it's got all of these installed. So yep, it's got the full RetroArch stuff in here. Very, very nice. So some of the emulators are old. You might want to update them. Now also I want to talk about the front end. Now this front end is, I like the look of it, but I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't really end up using it, because I used it for a little bit and I like the look and the simplicity. It looks very nice, but it just doesn't have the covers. Like, what's all this dead space? It doesn't look nice. The other thing is, if I go ahead and press the start button, you can go into tools. Right, just switch them, doesn't it? And you can actually fix the front end theme and reinstall add overlays. So here we go, you got some options over here, and this adds overlays, and it also configures RetroArch for you as well. I've actually copied them across, and you can see the overlays that it has. So you have the arcade overlay, very nice, and you have all these overlays that it installs, and it sets up the games. And so you've got, you know, Game Boy Advance. Here's GBA. It looks very nice. So it installs all these and it configures them. If you load into the game through the front end, it will configure the controls and everything, and also it's just got some scripts and everything running. And so here's the front end for the PSP. It's got all these front ends that it installs, and it looks very nice. It pre-configures the whole system for you. I forgot to mention the fan. You can actually have it on or off, and I kept that on auto because it turns on whenever it needs to. Now I'll run some benchmarks and I'm just going to put them up on the screen. Let's go ahead and talk about the emulation and the gaming on this. So we'll start off with the arcade. It runs amazing on this. Game Boy also runs amazing, Game Boy Color runs amazing, Game Boy Advance runs amazing. NES and as well as SNES, all of them run really well. The 4:3 aspect ratio is amazing on this. The size of it is just nice. Now also Nintendo 64 is really nice on this. I've played it, it works amazing. And also one thing I'm surprised about is actually Nintendo DS. Now I didn't play the games on joystick because I don't like the features that it has. I played my Nintendo DS games on RetroArch. I play on Melon DS because I can transfer my saves across to the other systems, and I transfer the saves onto here and they work just perfectly fine. So Nintendo DS also very nice, amazing performance. I like it, can't really complain about that. And also Nintendo 3DS, I did try Citra in RetroArch, but it doesn't work really well at all, so don't bother with that. But it comes with the Citra emulator, and so you can use this, and when you use this you get really good performance in games. I've only tried playing at 1x resolution because I mean the size of the display, it looks very nice as it is. So I did play some Nintendo 3DS on this. It looks very nice, and it also plays really well. I do find it does load in some things as you're playing along. There are some glitches going on. I think it might be to do with the emulator, but I haven't really experimented more than that, but it works really well. As far as the performance goes, it's pretty nice. It does have the Dolphin emulator, and you can play some games from here. It doesn't play them at full speed. Now let's talk about Nintendo Switch. It doesn't come with the Nintendo Switch emulator, but you can install it from the internet, go find it. Now unfortunately I can't recommend this for Switch because the performance isn't really good. Unless you want to play in 360p, then you can't play at like half the speed, which isn't something that people want to do. A Nintendo Switch, while it does play games, it might play some lighter games, but I won't recommend it for Nintendo Switch, although you can play Nintendo Switch games on this. Now also, if you notice, it does have Moonlight. I haven't really tried Moonlight at all as well, so I can't really comment on that, but I have looked at the subreddits, and you can actually use Game Pass on this as well as Moonlight or whatever, and the experience is very nice. It's very phenomenal. It works exceptionally well. Now in my opinion, for PSP, this is the perfect handheld. It's very comfortable in the hand. The screen is amazing. The performance is amazing. This will play all your PSP games. It plays all the God of War. It plays everything. Now if you go into the settings, you'll see that I've actually been using Vulkan on 3x resolution. Now you can play one to one, which is 1080p, or if you want to play 4x, which is 1080p. But I really don't think there's a point, because you can't really tell on this screen size. It's better to just use lower resolution if you can't really tell much of a difference. Now there is obviously a difference, but I do recommend just staying with 3 times resolution because it looks phenomenal on this display. Any gameplay that you're going to see on this is going to be played at 3 times resolution. So it does have a lot of horsepower for PSP, and it plays the games almost perfectly. Can't find any faults. The sticks, the comfort, the controls, everything is just amazing on this for PSP. So I do recommend this for PSP, although it is a bit expensive, you know, so I do expect it. Now PS1 I've actually been playing, even though it does have Duck Station, I have been playing on RetroArch. PS1 I've been playing like this and it looks phenomenal on this. Not only does it look phenomenal, but it plays perfectly as well. It's just exceptional. No issues at all. It's playing in RetroArch, and you know, it's just amazing. I can't find any complaints. You can use both D-pad or joystick. You can configure this in RetroArch and you can have this work your way. So very impressed with this. Very nice. I do like it and I can recommend it for PS1 as well as PSP. Now let's talk about another juicy system, which is PS2. Now I'm going to mention this up front. Some of the PS2 games don't work. Most of the games do work, and when it comes to the performance, it really depends on which game you're playing. So I can't say, you know, the game that you want to play will work on this. Is a very nice display size. It looks amazing, and it also plays really well on most games. My recommended settings are just stick with 1x resolution, and you must use Vulkan. Performance is just appalling on OpenGL unless you use certain games, which does reduce latency. Now again, it can't play all of the games, so it's gonna really depend on which game you're playing, and I do recommend just leaving it at 1x resolution, because while this does have enough GPU power for even 2x resolution of the, you know, the PS2, it just doesn't have enough bandwidth to play the games at maximum speed. Sometimes the CPU is the limit, sometimes the GPU is the limit, and sometimes neither of these are being utilized to the maximum. But as you can see, the gameplay it just looks very slow and stuttery, and you just can't play it. So some games are not going to work really well, other games do work, and then most of the games are going to work if you just lower down the settings a little bit and you can't get them to work. For PS2, it's really just up to you. Do you want to play some games at half the speed, or just very stuttery and all that? It's up to you. I I'm very surprised that this plays PS2, and it's been a very nice experience. Again, the controls are amazing on this, and I would recommend it for PS2 if you're just buying this as an all-in-one emulation system or a standalone dedicated device. You have PS2, you can play some PS2 games. Now overall, for all of the systems, the performance this CPU does have is just very, very nice. It is a really, really powerful CPU, and it does push out a lot of performance. So most systems that you're going to play on this, especially Nintendo DS, Game Boy stuff, all that is going to look like exceptional and play exceptionally well as well. Some of the more new recent systems, they might, you might really want to tweak them, but when it comes to the Nintendo Switch, or just forget about it. Like, now also, because this is running Android, you can move your saves, so you can plug this in and use this as a USB for file transfer, and you can do that. You can access the built-in storage as well as the SD card, and you can move the saves and also the states as well. So that's very nice. Same thing with the PS2 emulators as well as PSP emulators and all the other emulators, including Citra. You can actually move the same files about, so that's very nice. Okay, now let's talk about the battery life. This has a massive 5500 milliamp hour battery, and I can't give you exact hours that you can get out of this. If you play the lower system, you can get through a whole almost 2 days of use. I just keep you on airplane mode because I keep you offline, but the battery life on this is massive, and you can get exceptional performance. If you want to play PS2, you're gonna get about 4 hours, and if you push it above that, it might just drop down to 2 hours. But the battery life is just really, really nice for the system. It hardly goes down. You can just spend hours looking at the percentage, so you get a very good battery life out of this. There is one bad thing, however, that is, while it is running Android, you can put this to sleep mode. Unfortunately, it doesn't reduce the power consumption for some weird reason. I mean, at least I've found that, because if you just touch it back over here, sorry, you can feel that it's hot. And when I did take this out of my pocket first time, the battery had dropped quite a bit, well, more than I expected. So this CPU doesn't like to just chill out. It's always doing something, and you can see, well, you can just feel that it's a little bit warm to the touch. So the battery is going to keep going down even though it's in sleep mode. So that's a bit of a surprise. So that is a bit of a negative from this. Okay, now it's time to talk about the pros and the cons, what I like about this and what I dislike about this. Now, I love everything about this handheld. It is amazing. Again, like I mentioned in the intro, in the beginning of this video, this is almost like a dream handheld. If I was to build a handheld, this would probably be it. It's just absolutely amazing. Can't complain about anything on this, except, and I'm going to talk about the cons in my opinion of this. Now, hardware wise, this thing is absolute solid, but I believe what lets this down is the software. For example, as I mentioned, you do have a HDR display, but there's no HDR implemented in this. Not a big issue because it looks amazing as it is, but that's just something to mention. The Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo and the Xbox mode, in my opinion, I think personally, might be wrong. This is unnecessary to add, because I've never really come across this on other handhelds, and they seem to work perfectly fine with the mappings in the emulators. But this is on another level. It keeps just switching them on its own. When I want to just play a game, I have to make sure I switch it and then off and then back on again to make the controls right. It's a software issue, but it's very annoying. The other thing is the idle time seems to be not very nice. The CPU, even though it's in sleep mode, in your pocket or something, is draining the battery. Not a big issue because it has a very big battery, but you can actually notice that it's going down. And also PS2 performance, a lot of people say this is amazing for PS2. I do recommend this for PS2 if you're looking for a portable PS2 system. And if you already have a smartphone, you're better off buying a Bluetooth controller. You will get better performance, but it does do PS2 and most of the games works. Now, the other thing is the sticks, and a lot of people complain about the sticks. Almost everybody does, and then they say get GammaOS on this and then it's gonna go away, but that doesn't really exist. There's no GammaOS on this as of right now, and everybody's still waiting, and it's just, I don't know if it's gonna happen. I can't find any links to it. There are some reviewers that do claim that they have installed it and they fixed everything, and I just can't find any solution. Now the problem with these sticks is, and these are very nice sticks, but the problem with these sticks is that if I go ahead and move them, and you can probably see this on the screen, so it's at 98%, it's at 1%, but you can see the amount of travel I have left on it, and it's still at 98, still at 1. It's almost like using half of the stick, and it just goes to 100%. And that's the only issue I find. I don't have any issue with, obviously, you know, it's gonna snap to the diagonals, but when it comes to gameplay, I haven't really found that to be much of an issue. What I've mainly found to be an issue is just how much precision I can get off these sticks, because of how much I can move them. They just go to 100% when there's still quite a bit more left, and I think that's the main issue with these. The other thing is dead zones. I did actually experience this only once, but when I turned the system on, I was playing PSP, it was stuck like 48%, on number 48 going down, and I just don't know why it was, and it was annoying, but I thought the stick was gone. It's bad stick, very nice stick quality wise, but the software just lets it down. But then what fixed that was just restarting the system. So don't touch the sticks, or restart the system, and that will fix it. So yeah, those are the only issues that I have come across. Apart from that, I mean, this is an amazing piece of handheld. I can't complain about it at all. It's very amazing. For under £200, I don't know if it's not worth it, because there's hardly any other comparison in this price range. The Retroid Pocket 5 is probably going to be a better buy than this, because it's going to be exactly the same, but with better hardware and well better software, sorry. So it's gonna maybe have better experience. Now when it comes to recommendation, I'm just gonna go ahead and conclude. If you already have this, then keep it. Don't buy the Retroid Pocket 5, because the performance difference isn't really that big. While it is, you know, definitely a difference in performance, you're not going to be on another level. If you don't have this, wait for the Retroid Pocket 5, and I think you're better off picking that up. If you do have this and you're looking for an upgrade, I recommend going to the Steam Deck OLED, because I know the Odin 2 is better than this, but the Steam Deck just opens up a lot more opportunities. I think that's the next step up from this. So I'm probably going to skip upgrading, because this is almost like an end game for me. I'm happy with this. It plays so many systems. So I'm pretty happy with this, sticking with this, and the reason I bought this is because of this display, and it's worked out really well. So yeah, definitely I can't recommend it, but don't buy it, because the Retroid Pocket 5 is going to come out, and I think that might be a better buy than this. It's going to be exactly the same, just might be, you know, better software wise, and performance is just a tiny bit better, and overall it's basically the same thing as this, but it's going to be, you know, well, a stronger afford opponent to this. So I think I've gone on for long enough. I'll leave the video here. If you guys have any questions, ask me in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in another video.